Good morning, gang. It is 8:30 in the morning Central. At least it's not as brutal as like a 6:30 game. So up and about, kinda, but ready for the game. This almost feels like a morning coffee show over here. We're gonna bring some of our guys on. Please jump onto the comments. Lineup is out. 30 minutes to kick off. Heck, 27 minutes to kick off. But we'll bring some of our contributors on. Everybody's out and about. This guy, for example, over here is walking or running. He's probably not running. He's barely walking. It is Jamie on the way to the game himself. What's going on, man?
Not too bad. A little brisk this morning. Got my morning coffee.
20. You got sunshine and stuff in the background. That's good enough. How's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't complain. Seen the lineup. It's all right, isn't it? I'll be happy enough for that.
I think so. That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, it's probably, it says a lot about the forms of Henderson and Fabinho and stuff like that, but it's probably the best we can put out there right now, right? In terms of form?
Yeah, in terms of form, you're absolutely right. In the midfield kind of speaks for itself right now. I know I said on the Thursday night, I possibly would have went with Nat, but, you can't really rock the boat too much. So Gomez and Matip it is, and that's fair enough too.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're a huge fan of Nat, but I just feel like, these guys, in terms of being used to playing with each other too, for the most part, I think this is probably like the best combo we can have over there. I actually see that Fabinho is not even on the bench. I have not heard anything. I don't know what's going on there, but unless he was like a yellow card thing or something like that, or got a knock or something like that. But looking at the bench over there, not much left to excite, right? I think when you put everybody we have in the starting 11, which we probably should with Salah, Gakpo, and Nunez, there is really nobody that you look at the bench, aside from maybe Elliott, and say, hey, if we're struggling, they can come in and change the game.
That's it, isn't it? And look, hopefully we're in a position where we don't necessarily need too much off the bench today. But yeah, Elliott could provide a little spark, and Ox is always there, so can't really complain too much. But yeah, let's hope the 11 can get the job done today. Get our second win of the year at Molineux again. So we got our first win of the year at Molineux. Let's get our second win of the year at Molineux,
I hear you. So what is your score prediction over here?
I went for a 1-0 on Thursday night, and I'm a big fan of the old heart attack 1-0s. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. What can I say? I know traditionally, Molineux, we don't really put them to the sword too much. I think you have to go back to December 2018, to find us winning by a 2-goal margin. So 1-0, I'll take it. If I can add a few extra gray hairs to my dad bod, why not?
Yeah, I'm already. I don't have much hair left to add, even the gray ones too at this point. But well, Jamie, enjoy the show. I'm assuming you're watching it with the now official Liverpool Sports Club, right?
Yeah. I'm here at the official headquarters, Duck and Dive, Wilmington, North Carolina, ready to enjoy the game. So can't wait.
We'll talk to you after the game, man. Have fun. Hopefully, it's
take care. One. Up the Reds.
Yeah, as he heads over there, and then Everton gets a win, which, the title is won today. It looks like that's a huge win for them, to be honest. I was talking about it in the morning show yesterday. I did not see that one coming at all. And also, as promised in the morning show, I did not get up to watch that one. I barely got up to watch this one. So, yeah, but looks like they did win. It was kind of like a freebie for the most part for Sean Duche over there, because probably zero expectations for this game. And I think they outplayed them looking at the stats. I didn't watch the game. But let's bring down Gally over here, who is also kind of awake. But
Good morning.
Probably got up and watched the Arsenal game.
I did watch the Arsenal game. The dog got up early this morning, and it's so cold. It's so cold he wouldn't go out and actually pee or play or do anything because it's -5 degrees here, real temperature. So we got on the couch and watched the Arsenal match. And I got to say, actually, Everton deserved everything they got out of the match. It would have been unfair had Arsenal grabbed an equalizer late. Everton created all the chances, had the better of the chances, and then finally took one while basically looking like Burnley from the beginning. Dominic Calvert-Lewin held the ball up. Players ran onto him. They ran past people. I'll give Everton a lot of credit. The Onana kid is a player. He was an absolute mountain in midfield for Everton.
Yeah, he has like a rash tackle or like a crazy pass in him still, but he's a young kid, so that was definitely one of their rare goodbyes.
And I will say, you know, it's classic Dyche. I think I said this in our Discord channel this morning too. Give Dyche 3 training sessions, and he immediately brings Decore, you know, the old Watford player who at one time was Everton's best midfielder. He brings him right back in, starts him, and the guy starts running around Boston midfield because he's like a professional. And Frank had him like in the doghouse, like completely out of the question. So give Dyche credit. I hope that, you know, it wears off quick and we run him off the pitch next week. And I know we'll talk a lot about Everton this week on the podcast on Monday and probably the morning shows too. So let's get to our boys.
Let's talk about our boys. Lineup is out. What say you about the lineup? I mean, it's pretty much the best we can put out in terms of form, like we were talking with Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the lineup we called for, I think, on the podcast. I really want to see Nunez through the middle and Gakpo on the left and not vice versa. I'm not confident that will be the case. I think we will get, you know, probably Gakpo through the middle to start. Which won't make me happy, but I like seeing Keita in there. Right now, he's our best midfielder, dribbling, driving, and even defending and pressing. And I think the Bashtic kid, it speaks volumes that he's getting this start. And, you know, I'm sure we'll touch on Fab. But the defense, there's no real choice because we don't have
Fab, by the way.
Well, I personally believe and I just checked, and the Liverpool Echo and all them are reporting he is completely healthy. This is a healthy scratch. He was dropped from the side completely, and I think this is a mental break. I think Klopp saw the look on Fab's face after he should have been sent off for the tackle in the FA Cup match 2 minutes on, and I think he literally said the guy needs a day off. He doesn't need to come in as a sub. He doesn't need to answer questions after the match about being started by a 19-year-old. We didn't know his name at the beginning of the season. I think Fab's in a bad place.
Yeah, that's kind of like rough, right? I mean, I was like, when I didn't see him on the bench, because I was like, you know, I'm talking with Jamie, like, who can come off the bench and stuff. And I'm like, wait, Fabinho can't even come off the bench. Hey, look at that. Boaz Levin is making a shocking prediction with 4-0. And next up is going to be 4 by Nunez or 4 by Gakpo. That's what I'm waiting on for his predictions. But yeah, I think that midfield right now, this is probably the best we can put out. Are you kind of shocked that Elliott couldn't find a place there despite the form he's in? I mean, they did get like a full week break. That was the only reason in my head I was somehow trying to shove Elliott in that lineup. Move Thiago, do I move Keita and stuff like that?
I think to get Elliott in that lineup with Bajcetic and, you know, knowing you have those 2 center backs in there as well, that you're playing your 3rd and 4th string center backs. I think the only way was to take Nunez or Gakpo out, which Klopp didn't want to do. He has to start he has to start defending by scoring, in my opinion. We have to start outscoring opponents because we're going to concede goals until Van Dijk and Konate are fit, in my mind. And I also think that it was just too harsh on Keita to drop him. And I think you need him right now, and it's the best run of form you've had him in a long time. And I think Thiago starts default because I think he makes Bajcetic a little bit more comfortable the way Henderson would if he was next to him. And I just think Henderson's so off form. You know, we talked about it on the pod. I'm nervous with this many consecutive minutes for Thiago and starts.
Yeah, I mean, Keita, I understand, right? Just like it's like a running back that's contract is up, right? Run him every goddamn down because he's going to go. Just like get the most out of him, juice out what you can. But, I mean, I figured maybe Thiago would be the one because of that because – yeah, we're almost asking for it. And you look at that Champions League squad that got announced. I mean, you look at that like the 6th possible that's labeled as midfield. And it's scary in terms of health and stuff. Health and form, I think, in that combination, it is kind of like scary. But I like the fact that, like you were saying, we got to win by outscoring. So I don't know if it's in that sense. I like the fact that, you know, we threw everybody we had up there, up top 3 to put some scare into them. That's a lot of speed over there that can go at a team. So they're not going to be able to, I think, attack us as much, knowing so much speed can go behind them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think this is the first. We've had enough training sessions. Darwin has been back healthy for a bit. He's getting integrated in. The three of them are ready to play together. This leaves you at least Carvalho and Elliott on the bench to come in and maybe change things up. You still have our good old friend Ox. If you want to toss him out there and see if he can't, make a run like it's 2017, he will run so fast he'll go back in time to when he actually had legs and could score.
He will.
But it would be nice to see something like that. And I think that is another part of it, of why Elliott comes from the bench. He offers you something different. You have the Milners and Hendersons for steal. And I think that, you got Nat if you got to break glass at the center back or at a, defensive position for some reason. So I think you just go at this game trying to outscore your opponent. I'm predicting 2-0. I don't know why I'm calling a clean sheet. And I don't feel like it'll be comfortable. I would love for 2 goals in the first half. I really think what we need more than anything today, people say a Gakpo goal. People say, a Nunez brace. We need Mo Salah to look like the best player, at least on our team. He doesn't even have to be the best player in the Premier League or the world anymore, in my opinion. He's got to be the best player on our team at $400,000 a week.
Yeah, like I said, I think I don't know if it was this Monday we talked about it, but I think a lot of that has to be like his surroundings and
absolutely.
What else is kind of like scary out there. And there's not a lot to be scared out there when, you're playing kind of like an attacking midfielder as a winger, or heck, we play defensive, like center midfielders as a winger and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of, being able to open up some space for him. Having said that, though, at the same time, there has been a lot of times where we've been able to isolate him, and he just has not been able to ultimately get past and do his thing. I mean, that's, facts are facts, too. There are times where it looks like he's going to, there we go. Like the old Mo would probably be able to get past the person and crack a shot, at least do his famous curler to the left top corner, but now it's almost like he dances around before you know it. There are like 3 guys on him, and it's just not like a good ordeal overall. But hold on, this guy just made it to the bar, I think. There you go. It's basically Jamie in his natural environment over here.
Yeah, we're here. The tunes are on. We're ready to roll here. We got 14, 15 minutes left?
Yes, 15 minutes to go over here. So there you go. You have somebody over there. Is the feeling up? Are we feeling more positive, hopeful, something?
I'm hopeful today. We have to be at this point.
Have to be, yeah, exactly. There's no other option, right? They don't start serving drink until 10 o'clock, so we're hopeful.
So have you guys noticed, by the way? I mean, you guys obviously just became official, so I'm sure there's kind of like the fire of that, but are game days more muted, or is it just the same? Is like the core group is still there?
Core group's still here, yeah, absolutely. I mean, last time I was out with, I've got baby duties. So last time I was out was the Brighton game we lost, which was a bitter pill to swallow. We had one Brighton fan in here, and he was very loud and very proud. So
that was my fault.
Well, good luck, guys, and hopefully we'll all be still smiling in like an hour and a half or 2 hours over here, and we'll talk more. Take care. Gally, so let's get some predictions from you, man.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go 2-0. I don't know that I'm as confident with it as I want to be. I like I said earlier, I don't think that we come out raring. I would love for it. I saw Kazi with his 1-0 Liverpool doubling down and telling us who's going to score. Matip with a header. I like it. And it wouldn't surprise me because we're not really scoring from open play right now. So I could see it happening on a corner or on some set piece at some point. So I'll go 2-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, that's the only thing I worry about because, it was always Van Dijk that was the focus. I don't know if this will help in some ways, actually, because in the past, always it has been Van Dijk the focus when we do these set pieces. When you see teams defending, they're really like, where the hell is Van Dijk? We got to cover him kind of a deal. And I thought when we had Konate out there, I mean, we saw it obviously last year in the Champions League and stuff like that. He is a force in those set pieces. but he was also benefiting slightly from the fact that, people are still watching for Van Dijk, and it was next to him. I'm kind of going to be interested to see Gomez. You don't really see a lot, especially in these set pieces going forward, be very effective. Matip, yes, we have seen some goals from him, but I can see a lot of, which I hate, but I can see why on a day like today, there's a lot more short corner kicks where we kind of like pass it around as opposed to load up the box and hope for the best. Because, I mean, you do have Nunez in there, and Gakpo is a big dude, but you look at it like tiny midfield, it's not like you're putting a lot of like big bodies in the box.
No, absolutely. I was thinking the same thing. It is going to probably be a short corner day, and I'm not a huge fan of them as well. Let's be honest. There are a couple players out there today that it's going to be interesting to watch, and I think we got a couple more minutes we could talk about. This is a big match for Trent. It really is. It's not like he has some world-beating winger. I think it'll be either Huang or Saliba or Cunha. Like they're kind of interchanging attacking players. So I don't know which one will be on the left for Wolves. So I really think this is a big day for Trent. He's got to reestablish himself going forward. He's a big threat, right? He's a big piece of our offense when we're creating, and we've missed it all season long. Everybody talked about how he was thumbing his nose at the World Cup and that he was going to go, but it wouldn't affect him. I think this whole season has been like a mental drain on the kid. And I understand he's a young guy. He's just it's the first time in his whole career he's had any struggles, and it coincides with the rest of the team struggling. But he plays such a huge role to our success moving forward. I really think it's a big, big day for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Matip being there is somehow, I feel like, is an advantage just because of the factor that they're used to playing with each other. Like Matip is used to playing with Trent, and Trent knows where Matip's gonna be. I mean, look, Trent, we all understand, like people still argue like, oh, he's a great defender. That's the way we play and stuff like that. You're kind of kidding yourself. You're not really watching the full game. Nobody's arguing that he's not back where he's supposed to be sometimes because that's how we play. But there have been so many times, and you might be right, it could be a mental drain where, it's a simple give and goes. He's let his guy go, or he's kind of like doubled from the wrong side, cleared the ball to the wrong area, like a bunch of stuff defensively that you expect him to kind of shake off the system by now. In the past we said, hey, he's more like a wing back. Slowly he'll learn defense and he'll get better. He has improved a lot physically because initially, when he was running shoulder to shoulder, I remember like he would slowly collapse. That kind of changed over time. I think he's a lot stronger dude now. But in terms of positioning, he still has a lot left to improve. But I think having Matip there somehow, even though he's not as fast as Konate, as physical as Konate, it feels odd that to me, I think it's a bigger advantage, just the familiarity factor.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think we've seen that at times in some of his best performances, even the few that we've had, the rare good performances. And I don't mean good like he's been terrible, but he was exceptional 7 out of 10 matches for the first 3.5 to 4 years of his career. And then he was very good in the other two, and then just good in the last one.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that Trent, in my opinion, since, pretty late last year. And, the wheels started to come off there around match 55, 56, in my opinion, last season for a lot of our players, and just got tired. And then the summer came, and then they had the stress of mentally preparing for the World Cup and that first half of the season where no one wanted to get hurt. Then they go to Qatar and play in this emotional, drowning, political, and then he's pulled into the drama of not playing when others think he should be featuring, especially our supporters. And then he comes back and the team, let's be honest, we've just been stuck in the mud, neutral, quicksand, whatever you want to call it, since the World Cup. So and he's got the world, the pressure of the world on his shoulders. So big matchup for him today. And I think it's a big day for that midfield too. I think they've kind of supplanted themselves as the starters, and let's see how they do.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. Usually, it's kind of like a different feeling right now. I almost feel like as we watch these games, it's a total different than, I don't know, how I watched the games in the beginning of the season or last year, where it was a lot more nervous. But that's how I roll. But this year, it almost feels like watching a lot of preseason games because we never know. We're almost like experimenting and seeing, let's see how this works. Let's see how they play. As opposed to in the past, we kind of knew how we were going to play. And it was more about, let's see what happens, how the other team reacts. Do we get the goal and stuff like that? Those were the concerns. This year, I feel like, especially since the World Cup, maybe it's due to the injuries. Or maybe, like you don't have Fab and Handle, like the familiar faces that you see every single game out there. It's almost feels a bit more like, let's see what happens, and gives me a preseason kind of feeling as opposed to that nervous, sit on the edge kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout at all. It is match 20 of the season, or I think this is their 20th match of the Premier League so far this year. And it does feel like this could easily be August, and we could be going into the first match of the year being like, aren't we excited? This feels great and all upbeat. And it's the opposite, right? Because this team's so Jekyll and Hyde. We don't know what team or what performance that we'll see. I have to assume it's going to be a better performance than we just saw, against Brighton in the FA Cup. I really believe, it does feel like all we've done is play Brighton or Wolves for the last 6 weeks because we've played each of them 3 times. I just feel like it's
like 7 series in NBA or something.
Yeah, it's right. It's February 4th, and it could just as easily be Groundhog's Day because you wake up in the morning and you have an uneasy feeling because Liverpool's playing either Wolves or Brighton, and the real uneasy feeling is you honestly aren't sure if you should be favored in the matchup at all. And I do feel good today, though. I think they get a performance. I think Arsenal losing today maybe gives them a little bounce. I think this is where they start some momentum in a run if they're going to have one. We got to string some victories and some 3 points in the league together if we want to get back into this top 4 race. Because United is rolling. I think City is about to turn it on. I think City beats Arsenal next week and literally is in first place within 15 days. And then they do the City thing they do. Yeah. As soon as they get the lead, they'll separate by 6 or 7 points, and then Arsenal will be worrying about winning Europa and hanging on to 3rd or 4th. I really believe that's what could happen.
Like long distance runner that's like teasing people, and at the end they were like, oh, okay, are we almost there? Let me get going over here. Yeah, I'm kind of optimistic as well. I really feel like this team just needs a positive vibe to get back to where it was. These guys did not become shit overnight. But if you need some negativity, introducing Bickler, as always, says this will get worse before it gets better. Thanks, bro.
Well, the truth is, I don't know how much worse it can get. I know bad results and all. Jota's coming. Jota will be back. Honestly, every day I open up the Twitter machine and I get my injury updates or my Champions League updates. Another player is ruled out for Real Madrid. So I think right now, all you do is you watch the matches, you enjoy it. If you're not Bickler and you're not sick and getting over being sick and on meds that are probably frustrating you,
you're giving the meds way too much credit here.
I probably am giving the meds too much credit, but we're sponsored by some angry pharmaceutical company out there right now, I guess.
Yeah, I really think, it's not suddenly going to be like the team that we were used to, but I feel over the last month or so, you see small improvements, maybe because, mainly due to some of the changes in the lineup instead of trying to do the same thing over and over again, maybe. But one way or the other, I feel like we just need a bit more.
Hashtag this is America. That's what we need a bit more of right there. Hashtag this is America. So before we wrap up, we got to make sure and plug out that we'll be back, right? Post-match?
Yes, right after the game, we'll be on here, hopefully with smiling faces, maybe even a smiling Bickler, which that's probably way too much to expect, but let's get a win at least, and we'll see what happens. This 4-3-3 formation, using Kids and Weak Henderson. Well, hopefully we change that, and I think that's what we're hoping for. And then there's all kinds of negative predictions coming out. So let's go to this game over here. About to kick off in a few minutes. We'll be back right after the game with us as well as some more. Hey, look at that.
Hello, Peru.
What's going on? Yeah, I wonder what time. They're probably more like an evening. No, they would be really early over there, wouldn't they?
It is early morning. We love our listeners in Peru. American Scouser, huge in Peru. Way to go. Thank you for joining. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you
you.
for joining, and join us right after the game again as we talk about what happened and hopefully talk about a win over here. See you guys then. Enjoy the game. Up the Reds.